Hey everybody, Johnny Disc Golf here with another off-season interview. This time I am joined by newly minted Team Infinite player, Mr. Cole Redalen. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing solid, man. Hard to complain. Had a long weekend of extremely mediocre golf, but for me, that's par for the course. Any big plans this weekend? What you said you had a long weekend off camera.
Yeah, I had a long weekend, more hanging out with friends and just with family and stuff like that. It was a long weekend, but it was also relaxing, so it was a little bit of both.
Mm.
But yeah, I haven't been able to play too much golf lately because it's been 100% rain for the last 2 weeks in Oregon, and I'm just like, I know I love grinding out rain rounds, but at the same time, I'm just like, I'm trying to learn a new bag here, and
Yeah.
this is not ideal conditions to be doing that. So yeah.
Yeah, and speaking about the new bag, the obvious narrative and headline for you is new sponsor. You're with Team Infinite and now also with EV7. Talk to me a little bit about that transition. How did that come into your mind? What was the timeline like? Talk to me.
Yeah, so I think like after USDDC, we were kind of just thinking, or no, a little bit before USDDC, we were thinking, oh, we're probably just gonna do a little bit of negotiations, Discraft, and then like just build off of that contract from last year.
Hmm.
And the more we thought about it, Drew Gibson was very helpful and came along, was kind of like, hey, would you be interested in EV7? And
Oh,
so he reached out about EV7 and we got talking a little bit. We didn't think too much of it, um, but it came across being a really good opportunity. And then we kind of jumped on that. And then we were kind of looking for someone else. So we started going to Infinite. So it was honestly kind of like EV7 stepped in and then we went for Infinite. So I wasn't much in Infinite
mm,
first and then EV7. So it was kind of interesting, but the thing I really liked about it was if I went with someone like EV7, then I could still throw Discraft like I was last year
hmm.
and still be able to have the opportunity to learn another bag, as well as maybe partnering with some other companies and getting some other signature discs out there. Like that's also a really great opportunity. So yeah, and looking for maximum support next year, the more people we can get, the more top level companies we can get involved with my name is definitely big. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, no question. And I think it seems like a lot, or more and more, you're going to start seeing this with, retailers getting into the space. Open bag seems like much more a realistic option for a lot of the pros. I want to go back a little bit to what you kind of led that statement with. You went EV7 first, or at least that seemed like your first commitment rather than Infinite. Did you feel like that was going to limit yourself? Because if you agree to EV7, you're probably not going to be going to Discraft. You're probably not going to be going to Innova. How did you work that timeline in your head?
Um, well, I feel like I had a pretty good season last year,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just kind of like, well, I mean, we're already getting something pretty good from AB7, so it was just kind of like we can also get something to build off of that. And we didn't think much of like, oh, Infinite isn't going to give us a good deal at all. I feel like if
Mm-hmm.
I was jumping down to a retailer from someone like Discraft, I feel like there would be some interest in there from Infinite or someone like OTB,
Mm-hmm.
or that was kind of the thought process. So I wasn't really nervous about not getting anything from them. But we also signed with DGPM, which is Steven Scansroli. He's the agent that Drew works with. I signed with him, and he's been extremely helpful in
Mm.
that whole process. So it really helps on the negotiation side and learning like who's best for you for next year,
Yes.
who you want to be with. Um, but yeah, it's definitely. I think it was definitely a little bit like nerve wracking stepping down from Discraft, but at the same time, like it opens a lot more doors for in the future. And the new whole open bag thing was just really exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
and like one of the most when I think back on watching you play, I've obviously filmed you at a handful of tournaments, especially in that mid stretch of the season. You just throwing those, but like there's some specific discs that I can't imagine you going out and playing without. So is that like what can we expect from your Discraft bag to carry over into your new bag?
Well, I haven't changed much yet because I I've been trying to learn what discs fly like what, but in the tough conditions, it's kind of
Yeah.
hard to learn that. But I mean, as far as that goes, I love the Onyx. I think the Onyx is going to stay in my bag. if the Infinite Scepter doesn't take its spot, but we're trying to figure that out. The ESP Zone, I don't think that's going to be leaving my bag.
Mhm.
Ganon's trying to get me on some other things. I'm like, no, dude, I'm sorry, I can't leave the zone. And then obviously the Luna, I loved the Luna, and
Mhm.
signing with EV7 means that I'm going to be throwing the Phi. So there's definitely going to be some change there, but I'm excited for it because the Phi does putt and feel really well. Um, and then the Force, I've been throwing a lot of the Forces still. I threw a lot of Destroyers a couple years ago, but
Mhm.
I don't know. I've been throwing Forces for the last 2 years, and I haven't noticed me really needing anything else. And so I don't know. I just stay with what I'm comfortable with if I
Mhm.
can. So
So you mentioned putting with Phis. I think Drew Gibson's probably most noted for putting with Penroses.
mhm.
The is that like, you know, Drew kind of has his name associated with the Penrose. Are you maybe going to have your name associated with the Phi? Is that like plans? How's that feel?
um, I think it was more of like, so I've always never liked to bead on my putter,
Ah, okay.
and Drew has the Penrose, which is kind of a blockier putter, and it
Mm-hmm.
has a bead on it. And I was just like, man, I hope they have something different if I'm going to be with them. And so I felt the Phi actually before I even started talking with EV7. I felt one of my buddies' Phi's just kind of like, hey,
Hmm.
can I feel that? Like, I don't know. I just want to see what that feels like. And it felt really good. I was like, wow, this is like a Luna, but just slightly deeper.
Mm-hmm.
And so after that interaction, like it made me feel a lot more confident talking with EV7, knowing that they already had something that I could feel comfortable with using.
Gotcha.
So I don't feel like it's more of I'm going to have my name associated with the Phi because I don't feel like I'm quite there yet. But I feel like that's definitely going to be the putter that hopefully I can build in the future. So
Yeah. Okay, cool. It makes sense. Makes sense. So it's largely
yeah,
just a beaded, unbeaded, you know, feel in the
right.
hand thing. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just break down from the sponsor talk a little bit and talk about what you've been doing, you know, over the off season. You mentioned that you haven't even been playing much because it's been raining like crazy. Like I assume you're back home in Oregon. How's the off season been treating you?
Yeah, so I finished my year out with 2 wins, which was really amazing. And I ended that in October, I think was my
Mm.
last tournament. And so it's been kind of annoying, honestly. I mean, it snowed a couple times the last 2 weeks. It's been super
Yeah.
wet. It's been really rainy. I traveled to Central Oregon to visit my friend Ty Love. That was really fun. He had nice weather. He had like 65 and sunny, and I'm like, you're at
Ah.
3,000 feet of elevation, and I'm at 750. Like this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, but no, that was really fun. It was nice to be able to throw some big shots again out there. But yeah, other than that, I've just been doing a lot of putting practice. I've been posting some videos about me throwing in my shop on
Hmm.
my social media, and just that's been really nice. Just having that net indoors. It's hard to learn new discs in a net because you can't see them
Yeah.
fly. My mom is like, "Oh, you just go throw in a net." I'm like, "Mom, if I'm gonna learn a new disc, I need to see what it flies like, not just like a net is for reps. Like a field is where
Hmm.
you work something out." So yeah. My friend Hunter though, he really likes to grind out the rain. So he's like, dude, come on, 45 and rainy, let's still go to the field. I'm like, oh, okay, we can go to the field. So we're working on it, but he's working a lot, so we'll see if that ever happens. But no, as far as off season stuff, I'm doing a lot of training as well.
Hmm.
I've been doing some workouts with my chiropractor, Oregon Sports and Family Chiropractic. Brandon is
Hmm.
super helpful on that. And then also got a new like community center membership. Going to be doing some stuff there. So yeah, I think getting my body ready is going to be the most important thing. And then Gannon Burr has been helping me with some form things a little bit because
Mm.
we all know he really Gannon always talks to me. He's like, dude, what are you doing with your arm? And I'm like, what do you mean? I feel like my form is just fine. And so he'll just send me a video and be like, you need to fix this, you need to fix this. I'm like, okay, but it's working, so I trust him on it.
Yeah.
So
No,
yeah.
so funny you mentioned Gannon. You know, we did our interview a little bit ago, and he's like, you know, hey, I can only do it after 4 p or 3 p.m. my time because I've got school. I literally have to go to school each day during the off season. It's not quite as like relaxing and, you know, chill as some of the other pros who are just taking it easy. You know, you're younger too. How old exactly are you? Because I feel like you're some range between 14 and 20, and I just don't know what. And what's the school situation? Do you have to, are you like doing homeschool? Or are you done with school? Where are you at?
I am I'm homeschooled. I'm 17.
Okay.
I am hopefully looking to be done the week before I leave for the disc golf con in Vegas.
Mm.
That would be ideal, but I'm not doing any like electives or anything like that. I'm
Hmm.
just trying to do whatever I have to do to finish school. So that's like
Uh-huh.
history and biology and some finance courses online or whatever. It's like the
Yeah.
last stuff I'm trying to do. So I'll like do a little bit of that in the morning and then I'll just have the rest of my day, or I'll like do it at night while I have the rest of my day to myself. So
Hmm.
it's really nice to be really flexible, but it's just some textbooks I sit down and do for a little bit, which I'm sure Gannon would love to have that
Yeah.
flexibility. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's cool though. That so it seems like there's a plan. My guess then, from hearing that, means that like you're looking to be done with school this off season and hit the tour full go next year. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I'm going to be taking my mom's car out a little bit and just kind of moving around. She's going to be with me for a couple events and then leave
Hmm.
me, and I'll be on my own for a couple events. And then so we're just kind of treading water lightly. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to stay out there, see what I can handle, see what I can't handle. And then also it's a big step for her because her kid is going on the road by himself. So um, it's definitely going to be interesting. But my goal is to try to make it to a lot of the Elite Series minus Idlewild, I think.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. You mentioned your mom. I've really like every tournament I've seen you at. I believe this past year your mom had traveled with you too, which is incredible. It really like kind of reminds me of my own family situation. My mom was like team mom for all my stuff, so I love that dynamic, that relationship. Could you talk a little bit about the support you have from your family? This is a big step.
Yeah. Obviously I couldn't do any of this without them. So I give it all to them. My dad works for Intel, so
Mm,
he's really good at what he does, and thankful for that. So they give me a lot of financial support on that side for what sponsors can't already cover. And then also just the support of being like, last year, actually, my dad, every time I didn't win an event, he made me write up an entire paper that was like, pick out, it's like, okay, I lost worlds by what, 40 something strokes? Okay, so we have to find 40 different moments in all of those 5 rounds of strokes I need to make up in order to win worlds. Sure enough, there was plenty of times I went OB and plenty of putts I missed. I could have won worlds this year. But it's
wow.
it's it's kind of interesting though because my dad has never been a professional athlete, but something about that dynamic of thinking through the entire event, like what your mental space was when you made that mistake, revisiting that and then putting it down on paper and really seeing that is, I feel like really, really important in growing and becoming a better player.
Hmm.
And so I feel like that's something that helped me going to Ledgestone was, I mean, my dad made me do that from, January up until Ledgestone, or up until I, didn't or started winning tournaments.
Hmm.
But yeah, at Ledgestone, like my mindset had shifted completely from what I was doing, a couple tournaments earlier. I kept being like, oh, I want to be at the top. I want to be at the top. I want to be at the top. Ledgestone was kind of the first tournament where I just kind of like shut my mind off. And I was like, you know what? Your game hasn't been feeling great lately. And you can fix these mistakes. So why don't we just go out and just play disc golf and just,
Hmm.
commit to every throw to the best of your ability. Whatever happens, happens. And sure enough, I had the best tournament of the year. Um, so yeah, I feel like my dad definitely helps on the mental side a little bit. As much as I don't want to admit it because he's my dad and he says a lot of things, sometimes gets on my nerves. I still thank him a lot for it, and I've had many arguments of like, why do I have to write this? But he's in the end, he's just like, you need to do this because this is the only way you're going to grow. So yeah, I think him putting his foot down on that was definitely something I don't necessarily love, but I feel like it's helped me, so I appreciate. Um, yeah, and then my mom obviously when we're on the road, she'll go to the store, she'll buy all the food, she'll prepare it like I mean I'll usually start my day with like an egg and cheese bagel
Hmm.
sandwich, and then maybe a smoothie and some yogurt, but she's really good at preparing the dinners and the
Mm.
healthy lunches and the big salads. You can ask a couple players on tour, I'll just bust out this massive salad bowl in the middle of the round. They'll be like, what the heck is going on? I want a big salad right
Yeah.
now.
Oh,
So
that's so great. I love that. It's almost like it's almost like having a manager on the road with you. So when I hear you say that, and then I hear you say a couple questions ago that you're going to be going on the road without your mom and without that like person to be coordinating that for you. Have you thought at all about like, how do I keep up some of this stuff? Are you like, man, McNuggets sounded pretty good right now? Like,
Well, one thing that makes this a little harder for me is I'm actually gluten free, so I can't just
ooh,
go. I can't just go to McDonald's, or I can't just go out of these places. But also, she would pull me off of tour if I started doing that, I'm sure. So, um, no,
uh,
she's been. She got me like this tiny little Instapot that I might
mhm,
take in the car with me, or just like a little portable stove top where I can make some things. But
mhm,
no, she's been teaching me a lot. Not a lot. I've been a little bit hesitant on learning these things, but she's trying to teach me
yeah,
about health and just calories and proteins and what
mhm,
all that stuff, how that benefits your body. And so, yeah, I've been doing a lot of that, making sure I'm eating a lot of food. I got some personal stuff going on that's not great, so I'm just trying to eat as much as I can right now. But um, yeah, I think she's definitely gonna be like, you better call me like every
yeah.
morning and every night, and like you need to tell me what you had for breakfast, what you had for lunch. I'm just be like, okay, there's a lot of pressure going on, but I understand it, So
Yeah, no, I mean it's good though, and I when I hear you say you're gluten free, I think that like having restrictions like that, especially like on the road, like I think Eagle being vegan, it doesn't even allow him the thought to eat poorly, or like slide into that rhythm. At the same time, I think that I usually think it takes a year of someone being on the road for them to like actually see the benefit of eating well for the entire time. It takes like 2 months of eating poorly to be like, whoa, this is actually
hmm
not good for anyone. I was
hmm
living in a van for a little while, and now only recently has it been like, all right, I'm focusing on like sustainability and doing this for the long haul because you guys know it's like 7-8 months straight on the road grinding, grinding, grinding. Nutrition is
right.
is critical. Um,
hmm
I want to talk about your performance a little bit last year and then move into goals for next year.
Okay.
I first saw you or I first came across you as a really high level player, I should say, at the Resistance Discs Open. And I think that that's where a lot of people you popped on the radar. You mentioned that you didn't want to play this off season because the rain and all that stuff, but that tournament was one of the nastiest, rainiest experiences ever. And you were like lights out. You played great that tournament. What was that experience like?
Well, I was just stoked. I'm gonna mention Gannon again because he's obviously, for me, he pushes me to be better. Because he's a good player. He's younger than me, first of all, which is also frustrating. And yeah, I don't know. I've always wanted to be the best and strive to be the best. And Gannon, who's standing there in my way, is kind of a something to make me push to be better. And so after I saw him get on Jomez and get on live coverage and everything like that, I was just kind of like, dang, I want my shot at that. And so I knew like Trojan at the Resistance Disc Open, I'd played that for a couple Oregon State championships. I'd played
Mm-hmm.
it for a couple B tiers. And I was just like, dang, I can like really shred this event if I really play well. And I'd already known what it was like to play in the rain there. Um, I did not do that well the final round, but we'll talk about that in a second. But no, I that first round we had like a really nasty stretch of like 8 or 9 holes, and I was able to like stay out of my head about it and just keep playing the game I knew how to play. And I feel like rain is definitely more mental than I think it is, physical, messing with your game. I feel like people are like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to slip so bad. Oh, my grip is going to be terrible. I feel like if you get that mindset out of your head, it's actually not as bad as you think it is. And that's why I've been playing a lot better in the rain since then. Um, but yeah, no, that was a really amazing experience, and I was really stoked to be on the live card. I was like, this is your first real test of like big
Mm-hmm.
pressure on a big stage. Like, let's just not worry about that and just play your game. And I played great for the first 9 holes. Um, but no, I think the coolest part about it was just like being at a course that I knew, that I've been playing for the last couple of years, that, I had some local support there with me. And it was just like, if anything, take away from today, that you got to the lead card for a final round, and that's all you got to think about. So
Mm-hmm.
that was a really cool experience.
Yeah, and I really feel like one of the things that I heard, from the live crew, because we always have, we're traveling with each other like for the most of the year, and they said that when they came to find you during the second round with the live cameras, that's a make it or break it moment, right? You're on third card or something, you're playing really well, somebody swoops in with a camera, it's a totally different ball game. And they said that you played really well and stepped it up and didn't shy away from that moment. And I can speak to that myself just from Ledgestone. I'm thinking round one where you were playing really well. I show up with the camera and you still hit like 2 or 3 outside the circle, throwing great drives. Could you explain to the people at home that haven't experienced that? Like, it's one thing to be playing AM2 and on third card and playing well, but to be playing well on that stage and have a camera roll up and like, how do you manage to stay in the zone and out of your own head, like you said earlier?
Well, I think the two things I think about when I see that happen is, well, they're here for a reason because you are shredding, and accepting the fact that they are here to film you. You got to accept it. You can't be scared of it. I feel like if you get in your head about it, you're like, oh, I can't mess up in front of the camera. Well, that's your first mistake.
Mm-hmm.
You've already played 10 holes, the greatest round you ever played. Like, there's nothing going to keep you from doing that unless you keep worrying about this camera that came over and started filming you. And so that's why at Ledgestone, I thought it was kind of funny. I think you found us on like hole 8 or 9 or something, and then I bogeyed hole 10, and then you left or something like that. And I'm like, Mom, Johnny just left. Like, I need to pick this up. And then I strung like 5 or 6 birdies together, and then you came back, and I was like, there we go. That's what I was looking for. So honestly, I feel like it helps me to be a little bit better, honestly, to just keep pushing, keep playing my game, and to like, I love it. I love it when a camera comes over. It just makes me feel like, yeah, I am here. I am playing well. Like, let's keep going.
Yeah.
So
I think that like the two mindsets that a lot of people have, like, it's either, oh no, a camera's here, I can't mess up, or yes, a camera's here, finally somebody's gonna see this. Like, those are the people that I feel like really step up in the final round in those pressure moments. It's riding the wave and not letting the wave ride you. I want to talk a little bit about next year, and plans, goals, what your mindset is. Are you like a write down your goals type? I mean, judging by your dad and your mom's support and like how they're on it, I could see them encouraging you to like list out what you want to accomplish and that thing. But what are your goals for next year? What do you plan to accomplish?
um as far as goals for next year, I like to set them pretty high. I don't write anything down. They're usually just mental goals that I throw in the back of my head, and just they're kind of there. Because I don't like to take goals too seriously, because I don't like to be disappointed at where I am. I like to be thankful for where I am at. And so I feel like as far as goals for next year, I'm having a very similar mindset going into this next year that I did last year, is just keep building experience and keep doing your thing, because I'm going to be alone for a lot of the Texas swing. I think I'm going to be kind of on my own and trying to figure all that out and travel and still be able to play well. And I don't have a lot of expectations for those moments. I feel like just expectations are what's going to kill me. And if I can, limit that, that will help me succeed at a higher level. But I think I mean, ratings goals, I'd like to bump it up to 1035. I know it's possible. It's going to be very hard, but I mean, 10 points a year is what I'm going for. So I already did that last year. I think I bumped up 24 points this last year, and I was already 1,001 at the end of last year. So I've definitely exceeded my expectations there. I didn't even think I'd touch a top 10 finish this year, but I took 7th at Ledgestone. That was huge. So I already know, like, I can, and I can like keep building on myself. Like I just keep surprising myself. So, I mean, if anything, I already took 7th at Ledgestone this last year. I'd love to, be gunning for a win this next year. Like, I mean, I know a lot of people might think that's crazy, but if you don't think about it, well, then you're never going to get there. So, that's just, that's what my mind is right now. So, yep.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And, obviously you've shown the skills to be able to throw every shot that's necessary out there on tour. It's not a question of you need to get physically better to even reach some of these holes. Like a lot of players out there, they're just incapable of even getting the birdies. So I love that your mindset is keep pushing, and try to make a run. Do you think about the awards that we just had, like, Rookie of the Year, Most Improved, player of the year. Are you thinking about that at all? Is like getting a most improved on your mind? Kyle Klein was already 10-20, 10-25, and he just won most improved. You know, are you thinking about that at all?
No, to be honest, like when these awards come out, like I think it's interesting to see who's there. But for me personally, I've never really thought of those awards as something that I've been looking for in my career. I've always been like, titles are what people is going to remember. Titles are what people are going to remember you for.
Mm-hmm.
And so working towards wins and working towards, you know, awesome battles and stuff like that is what's most important to me. I think most improved player, rookie of the year, or player of the year, like that stuff will come when you get those wins and when you get, you know, when you start putting your foot down and being like, I'm here as a
Mm-hmm.
professional player and top level player on tour. Those things will come with that. So
Yeah.
I don't feel like getting most improved player or player of the year is something that's on my mind, because I feel like that will come with my initial goal set. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I love it, and I can't wait to see the battles that are to come. I'm confident of it. You know, you're one of those. You're one of the crop of this new generation of younger players that, in my opinion, are really just going to like elevate the game even further than where we have been before. You know, like think Eagle, but now think 5 Eagles are coming into the scene instead of just one. Really, thank you for your time, Cole. It's really all I have for the interview, but I want to give you a chance to say shout outs, any thank yous, anything that you want to say to the people at large out there in YouTube land.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just want to say thank you for all the extended support. I think in the switch from Discraft to Infinite, there's a lot of people like speculating and just being like, why would he go from someone like Discraft down to Infinite? I want to appreciate all the kind messages and everything you guys have done, all my followers, for following my journey. I know I've gotten a lot more like recognition this offseason than I thought I would, especially after the season I just had. So thank you, Johnny. Thanks for having me on here. And yeah, I'm excited for 2022, and the more support, the better. So thank you guys.
Awesome. Hey, thanks again for your time, Cole. Really appreciate it. This has been a blast to talk. They always are, but this one was fun too. Guys, that is all I have for this interview. If you'd like interviews of all things disc golf, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel.